And then we get back to Dallas, and a friend of ours we used to work out with, he calls me up and he says, "Steve, I heard you bought some more machines." I said, where'd you hear that? And I said, "No, I didn't." He says, "Well, that's what I heard." I said, "Where'd you hear?"
How would you hear that?
He says, "Where'd you hear that?" He says, "Well, my buddy, he's a sheriff deputy out at Tarrant County, and he said you guys bought some machines."
How would they know?
I said, "No, I didn't buy any machines." And so the guy down the road from us,
Alex,
bought those machines, and he had a game room in his convenience store.
And he'd never been raided until he bought those machines.
And they busted him and took those machines.
Wow.
Now you figure that one out. That's a big scam circle that they're pulling. It's
the corruption runs deep.
They would steal somebody's machines from there.
This is what you're up against.
They would turn out and sell them to somebody else. Then they'd raid them and then do it over and over.
So if we would have
over again,
if we would have joined their little cabal and gave 10% of what we were making, would we have ever had any got busted, or we would have been on the good old boys?
Yeah. It's remarkable, but you have to imagine that this is, and hey, by the way, we're at 90 minutes, so I think we should start rounding this out. But you have to imagine, though, that this is a scenario that probably isn't unique to your
No, it's
right?
not unique.
Yeah, this is happening all over the place. And I think it's what I think a lot of people forget when they think about government, and this isn't a trap I fall into any longer because I've become so at odds with almost anything authority, certainly government.
Me too.
Is that government is the incentives are so misaligned, and the opportunities for profit, whether that profit is power or money, and they have the guns, is it's irresistible. And I think you end up in these situations, and most people forget that if you go to if you go to the DMV, you look at how incompetent everything's slow, and the people are grumpy, and there's just 50 things that you come up with. That is the government at scale. Like, that's our federal government at scale, and at a smaller scale, but still at scale, that's your local government, that's your state government. And they're not immune to the sorts of corruption, and certainly not able to fend off the broken incentives that they have. And so you end up in these sorts of situations, and it's sad. But I admire you guys for sharing this story, because I think it illustrates it very well.
People. We were introduced to Bitcoin a while back, and our friend said, "Hey, you guys should get Bitcoin." We were homeless for a couple of years, living in this bus here. I don't know if you can see that, but we were living in that bus.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done it. And the reason being, I don't do computers. And a lot of the friends we talk to now that drive school bus, they're older too. They don't do this stuff.